So we have been talking about international trading environment. Initially, true. International trading environment basically, see, nowadays we all know that we are moving to, we are not, we are operating in an era of globalization where international trade is indispensable, it is mandatory, and off and on I keep on repeating, I keep on telling you people that even though a company may not go international yet, it's not free from the effects of international trade. They will surely receive a competition from the multinationals and transnational coveting for the same market share in which they are operating. So, understanding the international trading environment and its basic, you can say, mechanics is very, very important. Also, because we are operating in an environment where you will find certain countries which join hands together, certain countries which form an association. So that we, in a layman language, we economic integration is referred to as when two or more companies join together for conducting the international trade. There are several forms of economic integration ranging from PTAs to monetary union. We will be talking about that also. So, to start with, basically, international trading environment is not that simple and straight as is the national trading environment. In the national trading environment, normally when the goods cross the state borders, there is very, very nominal formalities and tariffs, taxes, cess is required. Otherwise, it's plain and simple. The goods can move within the nation, across the nation. But when you enter into international trade, then it creates lot of, it involves lot of complications. It's a bit more time taking, and lot of barriers are there. Off and on I keep on telling you people, see, every country wants to improve its balance of payment positions, balance of trade position by encouraging exports, and they give all sorts of benefits to the exporters, because we want to improve the exports to for the betterment of the foreign exchange, or for obtaining better position in terms of foreign exchange. But for the import, most of the companies, in fact, all of the companies adopt a very, you can say, cautious approach. They divide the different areas on the basis of priorities, and imports are permitted only on those sectors where the government allows, and maybe certain areas may be restricted. So all of the countries especially puts up barriers against trade. When we are talking about barriers against trade, we are especially referring to the the imports which are entering a particular country. Now, although we have several multilateral institutions, we have WTO, World Trade Organization, that works for the basic objective of the World Trade Organization is to remove all unnecessary forms of barriers in international trade, tariffs and non-tariffs, and we can move towards a free form of international trade wherein all the countries are free to receive and sell their goods across different nations. But as we already know that developed nations, I mean high income countries, always have an advantage over lower and middle income countries. So having a free flow of trade without any kind of barrier may be something we can think of in utopia only. So tariffs, non-tariffs. So what is tariff? Tariffs are on any taxes, duties imposed on the goods which are entering a particular country. So duties imposed, as you can see in the slide, duties imposed when goods or services cross the border is referred to as tariffs. Now, non-tariffs are all forms of barriers which are besides the taxes and duties which are imposed. Like the country can impose certain licensing requirements that comes under the administrative barriers. The quotas, quota was there, but now all forms of quota has have been made. I mean, under WTO regime, quota is not permittable. No country can impose quota now. The famous multi-fiber agreement, in which I believe I have talked about it initially also. So multi-fiber agreement in 94 was abolished. Quotas were abolished. Basically, what was happening that textile, which was moving from less developed countries to the developed countries, what was happening was they were fixing quotas. They, like, beyond a certain limit, they did not allow the developing countries to export to them. So that was actually working against the goodwill, against the development, against the develop, developing nations. So basically, according to WTO, basically fixing the quota is a form of restriction that distorts the trade. So quota fixing is not allowed, but yet the companies can come up with lot of innovative ways to stop, restrict, control the goods moving across their borders. Like, they can, there are several requirements as per the quality standards. Certain foreign country of origin requirements are there. Then they can fix certain restrictions as per requirements regarding environmental friendly products, no use of child labor, and other several forms of restraints. These big countries, the high income countries, can always come up with. So basically, the international trading environment faces several barriers in the forms of tariffs and non-tariff barriers. Tariffs are direct, and you can, most of the time when a country imposes tariffs, mm, that is very clear and calculable also. But when you talk about non-tariff barriers, these are difficult to handle. Uh, Now, let us talk about one more thing you need to know is voluntary export restraints. That is not very common yet. Voluntary means willingly. So voluntary export restraints is when an exporting country voluntarily, on its own accord, on its own will, restricts its export to a country to protect the interest of the importing country, because they do believe that exporting such goods may not be helpful for the country, may actually create problems in the economy of the country. So sometimes voluntary export restraints is also being practiced, but that is not very common. Now, levels of economic integration. Basically, there are 5 levels of economic integration: free trade area or agreement, also known as free trade area or agreement; customs union; common market; economic union; economic and monetary union. So, we will be exploring one by one what are they. So, first, let us talk about free trade area. I am sure you must have heard about the term free trade area and common market, economic union, etc. Did you? Did you hear about it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So no worries, I'll explain it. A foreign trade, free trade area is the now economic integration. First, understand what is economic integration. Economic integration is when two economies are joining hands. Now there can be several levels of this joining of hands. It may range from preferential trade agreement, wherein one country giving preference to another country in terms of certain movement of certain goods, like pre the military tensions with the Pakistan, wherein that Pulwama case happened, and thereon the government just put restrictions on all kind of trade with the Pakistan. Before that, it was being given certain preferential treatment in the movement of certain commodities. I mean, commodities from Pakistan to India under certain PTAs, preferential trade agreements. So one country can give preference to another country related to certain commodities, movement of certain commodities. So to the level to which the two economies are integrated is referred to as economic integration. And there are five forms normally of economic integration: FTA, customs union, common market, economic union, and monetary union. Now, what is free trade area? Free trade area basically is a kind of economic integration wherein two countries form an FTA, foreign trade free trade area. What is this free trade area? Means the goods from one country. Suppose there are two countries A and B. Goods from country A can move freely to country B, and goods from country B can move freely to country A without any form of restriction, tariff and non-tariff, as the goods move between two states in a country this way. So free trade area, as you can see in the slide also, is a group of countries that have agreed to abolish all internal barriers to trade among themselves. So there are several examples of free trade area you may come across. ASEAN is one of the example. NAFTA, North American Free Trade Area. The member countries include your Mexico, Canada, and US. EU, EFTA, European Union's Economic Free Trade Area. Then we have GCC, which includes Oman and UAE countries. So free trade area, especially if you go by the definition, is when to when the movement of goods from one area to another is free, and the vice versa. Both the countries allow the free movement of goods across its borders. So it can be a bilateral or a multilateral agreement. Bilateral means between the two countries, only two countries can be a member to an FTA, or it can be between more than two countries, as is the example of NAFTA I gave you, where there are three countries, or it can be even more than that, like in ASEAN. So FTA can be for professional services like ISLFTA. ISLFTA is Indo-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement, which was actually started on 28th of December, which was entered into 28th of December 1998. ISLFTA, India Sri Lanka Free Trade Area. So actually, it started from March 2000. So that is for professional services, and certain forms of goods are also covered under it. And if you want to go into the detail of what is a trade agreement, you can just search it on. It's easily available on the internet. And there are other forms of free trade area also, like PSLFTA, CSLFTA. And so there are various free trade area you will come across in the international trading environment. Now, so this is about ISFTA quotas: zero duty, tea, 15 million kilogram per year, 8 million pieces of garments, and 2,500 million tons of paper. So that was initial agreement, but later on there were several improvements, several additions to the agreement. Now, customs union. Customs union is, you can say, a stage further, a step further in the process of integration, economic integration, the level of integration between the two economies. Um what happens in the customs union? Not only the two countries, for example, country A and country B, not only the two countries are having the free movement of goods across their borders, means the goods can from country A can enter the country B, the goods from country B can enter country A. Besides having a free movement of trade across their borders, they also have a common policy with a third country. Means suppose there are three countries A, B, C. Free movement of goods from A to B, from B to A, and A and B are having the same policy with the third countries. I mean, they will follow the same tariffs, same rules and regulations when they are dealing with the third country, say C. So that is about customs union, and as you can see on the slide, you can have a look. Countries group together and form a single entity which has same tariff rates with non-members. Means they will have the common policy with the non-members. The way country A is dealing with the non-members, country B is also dealing with the same rules and regulations. Commercial sovereignty is lost for individual country, of course, because the free movement of good across the border and a common policy with the third country also. So the commercial sovereignty is lost. They are under the same. They are followed by their customs union, their agreement. The commercial decisions are taken under the rules and regulations of the customs union. African Customs Union is one of the example of customs union. Rest you can more examples you can come across if you want to know. Then common market. Common market is a step further to say customs union. Not only the elimination of all the tariffs from for the movement of goods from country A and B, not only they are having the same policy with the foreign country, I mean non-member country, but it also includes other trade trade to be free also, like example services. So total elimination of tariffs is there, which includes goods as well as services. Not only goods, the movement of goods is free, but also the movement of services is free. Movement of services means suppose a doctor wants to practice in another country which is a member of common market, so they don't have to seek the permission, they don't have to seek for all the formalities, they can move freely. So not only the goods are moving freely without any tariffs, without any non-tariff barriers and tariff barriers, but the services are also moving freely. So the certain basic features of common market, as you can see on the slides, are total elimination of internal tariffs, that is common in FTA, common external tariffs, that is a feature of your customs union, and what is addition in the common market is goods as well as services are also being included. So example of common market, the living example of common market is European Economic Area, European Free Trade Area, Common Economic Space. So these are certain examples of common market. Please understand, this is the integration of the two countries, the economies of two countries. Hence, we are using the term economic integration. And we are discussing about the levels of economic integration that ranges from preferential trade agreement (PTAs) to the last stage, that is the monetary union. Now, economic union. Economic union is a kind of economic integration. It's a type of economic integration wherein uh, two economies are integrated into one. Means like a country where the like in a country where the all the factors of production, labor, capital, goods, services, everything is freely mobile. Similarly, when the countries form an economic union, their economy is totally united. Their economy is totally integrated. Means the free movement of not only of goods and services, but even the factors of production is free to move. Movement of factors of production means suppose a country, suppose there European Union is an example of economic union. Now, suppose a country in Europe, a company in Europe, one of the country of Europe, suppose they want to do trade with another country in the Europe. So that is very easy. But suppose a businessman who is in one country wants to move to another country, conduct the business in another country, then they don't have to engage in various different formalities. Means Of course the normal formalities of business would be there, but the way, for example, us wants to a us company wants to carry on business in India, then they have to follow all the rules and regulations of Indian government regarding the foreign direct investments. FDI rules are there. But in case of economic union, this is not the case. The factors of productions are freely mobile. For example, a company from Germany wants to invest in, say, France or Poland or Italy, then that won't be a problem because factors of productions are freely mobile. So, economic union, as you can see on the slide, is a type of trade bloc which is composed of a common market with a customs union. So it's a step further to the common market, wherein, and what is the addition? Addition is a freedom of movement of factors of production too. So the participant countries have both common policies on product regulation. They have freedom of movement of goods and services and the factors of production, and a common external trade policy that is well accepted. So economic union includes FTA, customs union, and common market, all the features of common market. And what is additional is even the factors of production are freely mobile. So that is about the um, economic union. So examples are like Russia, Belarus, Monaco, European Union. CARICOM is another example. It's basically the member. There are several members in the CARICOM too, which includes your basically it includes the developing countries. For example, Antigua and Barbuda, Bahamas, Barbados, Haiti, Jamaica. Hmm? So these are certain member countries of your CARICOM. So economic union is a kind of union, please understand, wherein the economy gets integrated, wherein the movement of goods and services and the factors are freely mobile across the economies, and they have a common external policy too. Monetary union is a step further to economic union. What happens in the monetary union? Even not only the factors of production are freely mobile, but they have a common bank, they have a common central bank, and the movement of the policy is such that the money supply, money control is also under one single unit. So that is when economic union moves a step further, it takes a form of monetary union. So economic union with a single currency. What is monetary union in one sentence? It's an economic union with a single currency. When the same currency is followed across the economic integration, we use the term monetary union. But if the different currencies are followed, it is still an economic union. It has yet not assumed the form of monetary union. So monetary union is a kind of union wherein the single currency is followed, and they have a common central bank. Example is like East Caribbean currency union, European Union, wherein euro is a common currency, is a well-known example of monetary union. So I guess you have understood what is economic union, what is FTA, customs union, common market, economic union, and monetary union. If there is any doubt, you can ask me right now. Okay. Besides, we have a political union also, uh, wherein a political union basically relates to where where several small states are joined together. Uh, Joined together means they have a common government. So political union are again, you can say, what is happening in economic union. Economies are integrated wherein free movement of factors of production is there. What is monetary union? In monetary union there is a common currency and common bank, and same currency is followed. And what is political union? Political union is an example wherein small countries join hands and they are governed under the same government. There are several other economic integrations too, like commodity agreement, wherein uh, agreement is there for the trading and movement of commodities like food for oil. You give us food, we will give you oil. I mean, commodity against commodity. Uh, this trade agreement common among Iraq and USA. Quota agreement, will not talk about quota because quota has already been abolished under WTO since 94. Uh, Buffer stock agreement, wherein certain buffers, you understand? Buffer stock. Buffer stock basically means you keep it as a reserve. You can understand in simple terms. So, buffer stock agreement is wherein certain level of stock is allowed to be kept as a buffer. Why? Because to stabilize the prices and you understand how the prices are determined in a free market. Movement of forces of demand and supply interact with each other, and the prices are determined. Wherein the demand cuts the supply. This is what you must have learned in your economics. So when you keep certain amount of buffer stock with you, so in case of extreme demand, that buffer can be released to neutralize or to increase the supply so that the price may not shoot up beyond a particular level. So that is buffer stock agreement, in which certain buffer is allowed to be kept by the uh, by one country to another. Then we have cartels. Cartels are basically form of basically common in oil exporting countries or oil producing countries. OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. What is the basic premise of cartels? Cartels are basically formed by small organizations, small companies, which alone may not be able to carry on the business properly, or they may not be able to seek higher prices for their produce, but joined together they can dictate their terms and conditions in the market. So Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries is one such organization of cartels wherein small oil producers have joined hands, and internationally they market their produce together, they sell their produce together, and they can get they manage to get higher prices for their product. Another example is ITA, International Air Transportation Association, wherein air transportation, it's an association of air transportation companies. Besides, we have trade blocks and intra-regional trade agreements, wherein the countries agree to in certain areas like SARC, ASEAN. These are an example of trade blocks formed in Asia. So besides your FTA, customs union, common market, economic union, monetary union, and political union, there are several other forms of economic integration like preferential trade agreement, commodity agreement, quota. I will not talk about it because it's no more applicable. Buffer stock agreement, cartels, trade blocks, etc. So this was about economic integration. Do you have any doubt regarding this?